shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando,
And I'm Mary Yerina.
and this is It's Movie Time. Mary, did you ever go to summer camp?
I did.
You were waiting for that question, look at you.
How about you?
One of the great times of my life.
Aw.
How about you?
It was a blast. But I did not go to theater camp.
No, and I did not either. However, I did have theater in me. It was waiting to come out, so.
No.
Oh, yeah. I did a lot of acting up through college.
Good
But-
for you.
But this one was not. As a matter of fact, and I'll say this to you, Mary, because you're a good friend. 4 years in a row, I received the Best Camper Award for my age division.
Wow. I'm in the presence of greatness.
Do not-
Greater than I had imagined. That is awesome.
Do not be fooled, however. This was a vote by the campers.
That just means you were the funnest.
That's exactly right, yeah. And you and Bob, did your husband Bob go to
Bob
camp?
did Boy Scout camp. I went to Girl Scout camp, both
Ah.
day camp and resident camp. But then I also did cheerleading camp for the 1 year that I
Ah.
was a cheerleader in high school.
Oh, okay, all right. So we both had good experiences, and mine
We
just,
did.
yeah, right, just.
I didn't get any awards though.
Mary, however, you were, if there had been an award, you would have gotten it.
Aw, thank you.
Yes. And, you know, it was 7 weeks away from my parents. And I loved it. My brother didn't, not as much. I just loved it.
It's
Not
kind of
because
an East Coast thing though, isn't it?
Isn't
To
it?
go
Isn't
away to camp for,
Canada, we went to Algonquin Park,
okay.
Camp Pathfinder, take the train up and so on. Only, and he had all of the 4 of us went to camp, so only 8 doctors' kids could possibly afford to go to this. 7 weeks, Mary.
That's a long
Oh,
time.
it is.
Your parents were practicing to be empty nesters.
They were. What a great. I think I failed to tell them how much I appreciated the experience and they took it for granted. But we have a film called Theater Camp, and I selected it for us, first of all, because I need you badly on a movie like this.
Well, I needed the palate cleanser after all the serious
I
films
know
we've been
that.
discussing
I
to
know.
see theater camp.
Yes, after Barbie and Oppenheimer, everything, we've all had some really good experiences this summer. So we needed to step back a little bit and take, another tier of film. And this time, it's summer. I mean, after all, it's camp, it's summer. So, Mary, your overall impression of theater camp?
I thought it was laugh out loud funny.
Oh, good.
I enjoyed it very much.
Mm.
What about you?
Not as much, because I think I wasn't clear-headed enough to catch everything that was going on.
Okay.
Because there were multiple levels going on in this movie, and a variety of interesting characters that you can't in a movie capture each one fully as you would like to do. And I thought that there were so many interesting possibilities here that I didn't get a chance to fully digest. So I think I left it saying, boy, I'm glad I have Mary to help me out with this, because I'm getting it, but I'm not getting it. However, I'm very tough on comedy on film. Very tough. I need to be with an audience that's laughing, and I wasn't with an audience that was laughing. It was a very sparse audience. I think it was Gateway. And so I didn't have that help I need to take me along with it. And so that's why, because I knew that there was something really good along the Christopher Guest kind of thing, the mockumentary.
This is very much in that mockumentary style,
Yeah.
and it is based on a short called Theater Camp that was created at the beginning of the pandemic by the creative team that then carried it forward into the feature-length film. So we have a Tony, Grammy, and Emmy award-winning
Good for you.
Ben Platt, along with Noah Galvin, to whom he's now engaged, and Molly Gordon and Nick Lieberman. They have been friends for a very long time and created this short, which I tried to find online to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But what they shared was, after it was so popular online, they felt compelled to flesh out some more of what this could be. And in one of the interviews I watched with them, they explained that in the short, there were actually even more characters, but for the sake of the feature-length film
Sure.
and more clarity to the plot, they actually ended up cutting about 7 characters. And even then, I think there were some characters, because they are all very interesting. There was one character who was brought in as a teacher who lied on her resume into this camp.
Oh, yes, yes.
And they had snippets of her trying to teach some theater techniques that she probably had no experience in, like the use of a mask and on-stage combat. But that was a bit of a throwaway because they didn't really go anywhere with that. So they probably could have even been more editorial in concentrating on the lead characters. But they all but Nick Lieberman actually act in the film.
Mhm.
So it was interesting just watching them, because this is a scripted film, but they allowed a lot of leeway for improvisation. And after I saw their interviews and thought back on the film, you could easily see where they, as actors, had that space to play and could bring forth aspects of the character, oftentimes very funny, that maybe weren't on the page.
Oh, yeah, and I thought the emphasis seemed to be on the counselors as opposed to the kids in the film. I had expected it to be the reverse. Gawky kids who are overachieving or have impossible
Supremely
dreams.
talented, by the way.
Yes, yes. These we can expect, but the counselors being as inept as these were, and in most cases, if you take a look at the default head of the camp, after Joan Still, he has a
seizure
yeah,
and falls into a coma,
right.
and her ne'er-do-well son,
Oh, yes.
Troy, comes in to run things for the summer.
He's a social media freak or something. I mean, he's so inappropriately ahead of the camp. As it moves toward the end, as any really good film would do, you kind of get an affection for him, or at least I did.
Oh, absolutely. And he somewhat evolves.
Yes.
To the extent that he can. And if you see the film, you'll know what I'm talking about. To actually appreciate and love the camp that his mother founded,
yes.
has labored over, and has tried to keep afloat financially. And it does have a Mickey Rooney, Judy Garland quality to it in terms of, let's put on a show to save the camp.
Particularly with Amos and Rebecca Diane.
Yes, those are the two best friends forever.
Yes.
Head counselors, if you will.
Yes.
They're just very funny together because
They're
they're so dedicated.
Oh, they're so serious.
Yes.
about pulling off it. And it's no small matter. They have to have a production in, what, about 3 weeks or so?
Yes, it's about a 3 or 4 week camp, and every summer they write an original production.
Yes.
And so this year, with their leader, Joan, in a coma, they decide to write their original musical production about her and her life. And when you see the production at the end, she's had a very interesting life. Played by Amy Sedaris, by the way.
Yes.
Joan, who's always wonderful. In the few short scenes she had where she wasn't comatose, she was very funny.
And I love the fact that there is this snooty camp, was it Lakeside camp that wants to take the property.
Yes.
This is like just the way life could be. You had this camp, this struggling camp, which has big heart, and they're struggling to survive. And then you have the wealthier camp that was
right next door.
Right next door.
Totally envying their property and wanting to take it over.
Yes. And I thought the representative did a very good job. What her, I forget what her
Patty
name.
Harrison.
Yes, Patty Harrison, thank you, yeah.
And just a local connection to her, she was raised right here in Central Ohio in Orient and went to Ohio University. And does a wonderful job, and what is the evil corporate attorney / financier who's representing Lakeside and charms Troy
Yes.
into signing a contract to sell the camp.
Any of the kids stand out in your mind?
Oh gosh, this was a talented group of campers.
Well, you know what? Let's hold that off
Okay.
to our podcast. I think that would be a good place for us to go. Right now, we have to sign off on It's Movie Time, and Mary, I can't think of anybody better to do that right now. What do you recommend on theater camp?
It's summer, it's camp time, and I think you'll thoroughly enjoy a few hours spent at theater camp.
And I will just advise that it actually isn't as simple-minded as you might expect by going in. If it were one of these really campy, so to speak, films, I think there's more to it.
I think there is, and it's really a parody bordering on satire of theater communities and using theater camp as the vehicle for doing that. But you can only really do a good satire parody if you love your subject matter.
Nah.
And these actors and the creative team behind it clearly love being in